I just remember getting so deep into that monologue, and everything that I said when I walked out of that room, everything that I said hit me so hard, and I cried really hard. And I remember after I did it, you said, out of all the students that you had that did that monologue at the time before then, they didn't deliver it quite like I did. And then you had said to me too, you said, I saw a breakthrough today.
Hi, I'm Alex DeLerma, and this is the Cinema Gym. The Cinema Gym is all about helping you transition from the stage to the screen. I wanted to talk to you in this video about breakthroughs. So what is an acting breakthrough? And what was an acting breakthrough that you remember for yourself, and how did you achieve it?
So my acting breakthrough came when I was in class with you, believe it or not. And believe it or not.
Wow, what a
Believe it or not.
surprise. For years in the Cinema Gym.
Just kidding.
Believe it or not.
I caught myself saying that. I realized, no, that's not what I meant.
Cutting you off.
No, it makes me better.
Okay.
As an actor and an interviewee. No, but I remember you had us do monologues, and we were in front of everyone. Man, the one scene that it was Rachel getting married.
Oh, yeah.
And we did monologues, and you had us go, you didn't even film it. You were just go prep. Here's a monologue. You gave it to us maybe a few days before. And I can't remember all the logistics of that, but I just remember I picked a monologue from Rachel getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the monologue where Kim, one of the characters who's played by Anne Hathaway in the movie, she is at her meeting and she's talking to everyone, and it's a very dramatic piece.
Yeah.
And so one of my things was before, as an actor, it's like, oh, I can't cry on cue, or if it's emotional, I can't cry, which is probably the dumbest thing to
It's
think.
a common thing for every actor.
Yeah. And
there's a fear of not being able to immediately be vulnerable.
Yeah. But you know what the funny, just side note,
Yeah.
I think it's been harder to actually laugh than it is. Fake laugh or acting laughing is harder than crying.
Well, you've grown a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And that's why that makes perfect sense.
Because it's hard to laugh like you mean it. It is so much harder. Believe it or not. Anyway.
Well, when you get to where you're at, but in the beginning,
No,
in the beginning,
crying
it's
is
clearly
so hard.
so.
But anyways, I did the monologue, and I had a breakthrough because I prepped. I did the work, and I just remember getting so deep into that monologue, and everything that I said when I walked out of that room, everything that I said hit me so hard, and I cried really hard. And I remember after I did it, you said, out of all the students that you had that did that monologue at the time before then, they didn't deliver it quite like I did. And then you had said to me too, you said, I saw a breakthrough today. And it really hit me. And the breakthrough for me was this. An acting breakthrough is, there's technique and there's learning technique. Mm-hmm. And technique gets in the way sometimes of breakthrough, because as actors, we try to make sure we're technically great. And I think actors they perfect the technique before they actually.
That's a common thing that people learn. They do. This was my issue. I didn't understand emotional preparation or how to achieve a specific emotional state.
Yeah.
Until much later.
I
made it all about the result.
Exactly. And I think that's just normal. And I think it's perfectly normal. And I've learned that for me, that was my journey. I was great technically. And I always got that note from you. You are so good technically, but I can tell that you weren't actually connected. The relationship, the relationship wasn't there, or my emotional connection.
Right.
And so my breakthrough came from, and I know it sounds very simple, but it is hard to emotionally connect to a piece so much so that it's just the character becomes you, and it's hard to explain unless you experience it.
Right.
Breakthrough is different for everyone.
Right. So would you say that, and I'm not trying, there's not a single definition, but it sounds like for you, an acting breakthrough almost feels like, if we're talking about martial arts, that you've graduated now into like you've gone on to the next belt.
Yeah.
That you can just feel you've connected all the dots on one specific thing that you've been working on. And maybe it's having the ability to become vulnerable in an authentic way. There's people that can cry on cue, on command, but you can see the difference. Somebody who's crying for themselves and that it's a manipulative thing that they're turning on. I've seen it in auditions.
Yeah.
I've seen actors walk out of a room thinking, I nailed this because I was crying. And I'm thinking in my head, well, that was really self-indulgent. Like that had nothing to do with the other character.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember another breakthrough you had. I viewed it as more of a physical breakthrough with Bill Castrogiovanni when you did a scene from G.I. Jane.
And I
And I remember that you and Bill really rose to the occasion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I had sort of challenged you guys and said, listen, you don't have to do this, but I think you guys should take, this 2-week period to get so deep into the homework as far as the exterior stuff. Like what's the correct, salute? How do females in the military do their
bun?
hair,
Yes.
the bun? Do you know how to do the bun? So we had an email thread going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, hey, Bill, I started doing these exercises. And then he was like, oh, and then he ramped it up. And Bill will be the first one to tell you, he's like, exercise, But I remember you guys, not in a competitive way at all. You were just sort of like feeding each other.
I am so glad that you mentioned that too, because that was a breakthrough for me. And I think as actors, I don't know, I can't speak for every actor. I can speak for myself. As somebody who's creative collaborator, somebody who just thinks on that level, It's hard to actually start to do the business or the work.
The interior work?
Yeah, exactly. And so I procrastinate a lot because I want to create and do all this. So having to do work sounds like work.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who feel, and there's no correct process, although a lot of my fellow acting coaches would disagree with me and they would say my process is the one. But that's not true because one suit of clothes doesn't fit everyone, right? It doesn't work for everyone. We're all wired differently. So you have to find what process or combination of things that work for you. And I know lots of times there's people who feel like you've got to start from the inside out, that it's almost cheating. And I used to feel that way when I was an actor in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting Laurence Olivier's book, his autobiography. Yeah. And one of the first things he talked about was he always starts with shoes. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And it was just so went against what my first training was. But I started to train in every technique, to just see what was going to be the best fit for me. And I found what that technique was. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to feel like it's a commercial for that. I think you know what it is.
I know.
But I still use a little bit of everything. And that was one of them that from that day forward, the outfit, the shoes, the shirt, the pant, it just all really, whether I took a shower for 3 days or not, or, it all really affects us and puts us in a different state.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. And I've been in that position where different roles that I've auditioned for, things that I've been in. There's, why is it the dog always barks when I'm speaking? Just kidding. You notice that? But yeah, there's, wearing the sexy garments because I feel sexy when I put on the sexy clothes.
Spike heels.
Exactly. And then, or when I did G.I. Jane, wearing the military outfit and those combat boots and the bun.
The hair.
I felt just very commanding.
All the push-ups that you did?
I did so many push-ups, I could do 3 pull-ups. I know that doesn't sound like a lot.
No.
That's hard.
No. It is
hard.
Not for any gender. Yeah. That's difficult.
And I need to start doing whatever exercises I did then because I tried to do 1 pull-up. And I think I can do that. I can get halfway.
After we'll both go into training after these last drink. All right.
I will, maybe.
Thanks for visiting the Cinema Gym. If these videos are helping you and you want to see some more, please like, subscribe, comment. Let's keep this thing going. If you're interested in classes, seminars, or private coaching, you can visit the website. Hope to see you in the gym soon.
TheCinemaGym.com for virtual one-on-one coaching for camera.